Well, can I ask you, what
Okay.
do you think the thrust of I know that there's always policy direction and all, but what do you think that the thrust of the policy will be during your time?
Well, I mean, I think we're going to stay focused on the same things that we always have. Um, and the first thrust is of course, the sort of business angle and, promoting U.S. trade and investment here. That we do about $35 billion worth of trade with Nigeria. A lot of that's oil, but certainly not all of it. There's about $5 billion of investment, U.S. investment in Nigeria every year. Again, a lot of that oil, but not all of it. And we're interested in seeing that expand. There's a whole Nigeria-American connection. There are over 1 million Nigerian Americans. There are 30,000 American citizens here resident in Nigeria. So that sort of connection between the two peoples is really important. There's political questions, transparency, or corruption, or those sorts of issues that we work with our Nigerian partners. And of course, security is very important.
Yeah.
And not just here in Nigeria, but regionally. I mean, there's a lot of disturbing trends in other countries in the region, and we want to work closely with Nigeria because of its influence in the region to help address those problems.
Okay, then, Mr. Jeffery Hawkins, thank you for coming out this morning.
Thank you very much.
All right, then that's it here. Nota, over to you.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Well, Dr. Ona, you've listened, okay, you said you were not part of the acceptance speech by President Obama, but there are some things he said there. He said something about bonds that hold the United States together.
Yes.
And one of those he mentioned is a shared destiny. Dr. Ona, what do you think? You have been in the political stage in Nigeria for a while, apart from the fact that you're also a lecturer. What do you think about that, a shared bond?
Yeah, of course. There's no doubt that America is what it is because of their shared bonds, because of their destiny. You must know that America, incorporates almost the greatest diversities you can imagine in a nation. In terms of race, in terms of ethnicity, in terms of language, in terms of color, in terms of economic backgrounds, social backgrounds, religious backgrounds. You find all these diversities in their greatest numbers in America. But there is a shared destiny, so to say, and that is, well, liberalism, capitalism, the American the American position in the world, the American values. When they talk about the values of America, the values of the American people, that is the values of capitalism, the values of liberalism. And these are the things that bind America together. As a matter of fact, this election was about those values. How do we pursue it? Mitt Romney was coming from the point of big business. We can regenerate America by, making big business to be bigger. And the president was coming from the point of, we can make small businesses grow. And then each of those dimensions was still about the American destiny, the American.
Dr. Molale,
Yes.
that dream of moving forward, is
Yes.
it possible to achieve it here in Nigeria, bring it back home?
Oh, very much so, very much so. Honestly, the president started by talking about 200 years of nationhood. And I don't want to wait to have a president like that saying the same thing he said in 148 years' time. I want us to get at this position very, very soon. Nigeria, honestly, certain matters are settled. Whether it was Lord Lugard that brought the contraption together, certain matters are settled. This is Nigeria, this is one nation. Like I was just telling my colleague here, the slogan of UPN in those days was Up Nigeria. That of MPN was one nation, one destiny. In which case, we have a common destiny. We must, hold on to our common destiny despite our diversity. He was talking about diversity of the United Nations, United States of America. That of Nigeria is even much more complex. You are having a nation of so many nations. You are having a nation with over 250 ethnic groups. You are having a nation with so many empires that have fallen and risen centuries ago. Kanem Borno Empire that was even existing before the Ottoman Danfodio Empire. You're talking of the Yoruba Empire. You are talking so many empires. You know, you are having nations that are extended beyond the borders of this contraption. You have Yorubas outside Nigeria in places like Benin and Togo. You have Hausas in Nigeria, etc. So we are as complex in terms of diversity. But then let us accept that the matter of one Nigeria is settled. I think what we need to look at is, what we have in common and what we're learning. You see, to develop socioeconomically and combining, sustainable socioeconomic growth with human capital development, if you need to fast track, we are far behind. The only way you can fast track in this kind of situation is through innovative technology. And that is where we have to study states, nations like United States of America and China, because we need to fast track. And those are the nations that are advanced technologically. We need to look at our problems. We are practicing democracy, yes, but the pillars of democracy are not there. What are these pillars? 1, supremacy of the Constitution. 2, independence of the judiciary. 3, respect for the rule of law. 4, equality of all citizens under the law.
And you say we don't have that in Nigeria?
They are not in place. If one or two, we are staggering. What we have, our nascent democracy is there. It is growing slowly, but we need to fast track. And in fast tracking, we need to think back. We started with the parliamentary system of government. Then the military took over. And then in 1977-78 Constitution, they came up with this presidential system of government, which, of course, I think must have been influenced by, the military dictatorship. We now have a situation where one man is very, very powerful. If you study the growth of France from Third Republic to Fourth Republic to Fifth Republic, and see the system they are running now, you will see that they have a similar political history to that of Nigeria. The system they are running in France now is what they call the semi-presidential system of government, where you have a president that is head of state and a prime minister that is head of government. And it seems to be working. I am not saying that, I'm not because the constitutional review is going on, but we don't even know the program. We don't know how serious they are. All I hear is state creation, etc. But there are serious issues. We have to look at the system of government we are practicing. This presidential, can we afford it? We have to think, should we go back to parliamentary, which we were able to afford in those days, the Westminster, parliamentary system of government? Some countries are still doing it, some developing countries, and they are developing fast, like India. Then you now have this other option I'm talking about, the semi-presidential. Look at what happened when the president decided to remove subsidy. It couldn't be challenged under the Constitution by the National Assembly. The people of Nigeria, they were on the streets. They couldn't challenge him constitutionally because under the executive president, the man is so powerful.
But if we do buy into...
Let me quickly point out a few things, because we are talking about our democratic institution perfecting them. Look at the assembly, for instance. Do we need a bicameral National Assembly?
But if we're going by the example of the years, isn't that what they run?
No, what I'm saying is that let us look at what they are running and then let us adapt to our own situation, local situation. This is not America, for goodness sake. Okay. This is Nigeria. We can look at their situation. We are lucky. We have seen countries that have practiced parliamentary. We inherited parliamentary from our colonialists. We have seen countries that have practiced this presidential system of government. And I'm saying some countries are practicing semi-presidential. So let us sit and look at all this system. Let us look at the federation in itself. Is this true federalism? No. This is unitarism we are practicing. For me, there must be, for quick development, there must be devolution of powers to the states and the local governments, because the local government is the closest one to the people. Why should federal government determine how a man in my village is educated, how his health is taken care of? If you are going to copy the American, then look at what is good in America. Abuja, for goodness sake, at that center, do not need more than 3 ministries. maybe defense, external affairs, and one more ministry. All other offices should be bureaus that are coming up with policies, and then it will now depend on the states if they want to implement these policies or not, depending on their own local situations.
Okay.